a story posted on YouTube where a young man went inside of a library and he was filming. The guard approaches, says, "You cannot film." They have an exchange. He tells them he can. He wouldn't leave. And they call the police. The police come, and like 4 cops show up. He goes back and forth with them. They ask for his ID. He says, "No, I'm not going to give you an ID because I haven't committed a crime. It's my right to be here." And we listen to the whole footage, right? It is on YouTube. At the end of the footage, they were so pissed that they couldn't do whatever they wanted to do to the guy. And he did call them names. They could not even touch him because, of course, he was filming. One of the officers forgot he still had his body cam on. And you hear the one officer say, if this was 20 years ago, he'd be on the ground. He used some profanity, but he'd be dead. That footage was actually, what's it called? Sequestered. They had to produce that footage and they are in trouble. The amendment was added to protect us, the news, the media, because you never want to live in a society where you're fed lies, right? But it is supposed to be honest. It's supposed to be true. It's supposed to be ethical. So it does give guidance. So just a quick Google search says the First Amendment. It says the First Amendment guarantees freedom concerning religion, expression, assembly, and right to petition. It says among the cherished values, the First Amendment protects freedom of speech. The First Amendment states, relevant part, that Congress shall make no law forbidding freedom of speech. So when they say it's against the law, it can't be against the law. See? Because Congress cannot make a law forbidding us to learn whatever they was trying to keep from him from finding out. So clearly he was there to see what was going on. And they stopped him at the door. So we don't know what they're hiding, but okay, so let's have some conversation about the video.
So with just hearing what I heard, first and foremost, I'm glad it was no gunshots involved. I will say that. I'm glad there were no gunshots involved. That is the big thing. Second thing, it just goes back and reiterates what I said before. Before all of this happened, even with George Floyd, even with Trayvon, even with, there is still a lack of de-escalation tactics that the police need to have in regards to, citizens that have been obstructing, apparently, allegedly. So if there was an issue or a problem, there just needed to have a quick correction. That was it. It didn't need to be all the hubbub. But again, because no one knows de-escalation tactics, it continues to be this cycle of, oh, I'm going to try to triumph over you by promoting brute force or, having an attitude or whatever on the account of the police. And it's not right. That never ends well. It never ends well. Thirdly, I'm not surprised in regards to what I heard in regards to that officer. I'm not surprised in regards to what he said, because I do believe that he has probably witnessed several cover-ups, several homicides, several things that have, flip the story in regards to what exactly happens. When you're getting a police report, you also have to understand it's one person's perspective in regards to what happened. It doesn't mean that it's the truth. It doesn't mean that it's, valid. It's one person's perspective. And I feel like we have to keep that in mind, that we have someone who is human on the other side of that perspective. So because of that, you have to understand that, there's going to be errors. There's absolutely going to be errors. Anytime you have any type of human interaction in a high stress, high vehicle situation like this, there's going to be errors, 100%. And like I stated before, the police needs de-escalation tactics now more than ever. And it's so sad because now we have to rely, thank God for the internet, because now we have to rely on other outside means of, help besides the police. Besides the police, like caseworkers and social workers and psychiatrists, if there is a mental, escalation happening. The police is not the only means of help, which is really sad because they are there to protect and serve. But we are seeing time and time again, especially in cases like this, where they are not protecting, where they are not serving. How are they protecting or serving? First and foremost, the citizens of that library. Second of all, the citizen who was recording. Third of all, the people who are seeing the interaction. They're not protecting any of those people. All they doing is showing what is called their brute force. So that's what I'm talking about when I ask all those Blue Lives Matter people, like, where are you in these cases? Where are you when it comes to these de-escalation cases? Where are you when it comes to cover-ups that happen from the police force? Where are you in regards to providing solutions for that? That's what I want to know. Where are those Blue Lives Matter people who are, they back the blue, they really for police policy and reform? Well, police policy and reform is finding this de-escalated solutions. Period. Where are you? Where have you been? Why are you so silent? So that's my whole point of view. This is Jamisa.
So, Crystal, can you add anything before we move to civilian journalism? Okay. So, in the last class that I attended, which was media and law and ethics, I think, my final paper, basically we wrote our opinion on a revolution in journalism. So part of the paper was a review. She asked us specific questions that if she had not asked us those questions, I would not have learned this. So Judith does get props. Judith gets some props. Civilian journalism is, some people say, well, is it needed because they just post anything and it's not true. They haven't went to school to be a journalism, in journalism to be a writer, all of that. They don't have the expertise, right? And then they may be telling it from their point of view, but actually everyone who has a smartphone, Wi-Fi, internet, camcorder, whatever, can be a civilian journalist. So
I'm a journalist.
This is why
I'm a journalist. Like, I see. Okay, so let me say this about that. I seen this movie called Spotlight. It's an amazing movie. It's about journalists who investigated basically something. Okay, it's a really good movie. After seeing that movie, I'm a journalist. I journalize and document everything that I see. So, especially when it comes to these cops. So, why can't I be a journalist?
So
do I need the credential behind my name? That's what I need.
So, a civilian journalist is citizens, whoever, who has a smartphone. I'm going to repeat the definition. We are all have the capacity, the capability to be a civilian journalist. However, with everything, if you're not using it responsibly, you can create panic too. So And the question was posed, what is it, right? And then do we need to do away with it? And at first I was thinking, people so negative and they say all these negative things. I don't think we need it. But however, by the end of my research, we absolutely have to have civilian journalism. And we will go to the case, EJ Bradford. I think it was November. It was Thanksgiving in the Galleria Mall. There was an incident, actually two incidents that occurred. A young man shot, 18-year-old shot EJ's friend. 5 to 10, they said it was 5 seconds later, police shot EJ. The police had released, it basically was defamation of character. It's a libel suit. They announced to the world that EJ was the shooter. He was an active shooter, and they were heroes because they had taken down an active shooter. Well, if the civilian journalists were not at that mall filming the whole thing, they would have got away with it. They had to recant the story less than 24 hours after they realized all over social media was calling them a lie, saying you killed that boy. That man didn't do anything. So in instances, and if we did not have people who go live on their phone, on live on their camera, it's so the incidents that we have, we would not know the truth. So in this instance, he is absolutely making I feel like there needs to be investigation into his past, the officer's past. And every case that you've had where there was any force used, it needs to be reopened, because at this point, at this juncture, sir, this is not 20 years ago, right? And 20 years ago is why you've ended up here in the hot seat with nobody trusting you. And the fact that you can make a statement like that it would be so easy for you to take a life, that is concerning. It's a lot. So
People walking around. I'm sorry, Nichole, not to cut you off, but specifically since you have people walking around he's currently probably patrolling right now that are in danger. He is, to me, he is said to himself that he is a liability.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
And, if you get a chance to watch it, I shared it on my Facebook. But if you get a chance to watch it, and you can see the aura of the officers that show up. And when he told the one officer, when he told the supervisor, he's not even listening to you, he won't shut up. He was right. The supervisor actually did not have control of the situation. They kept saying something. And if they had just stopped talking or walked away, guess what? He would have probably just left. But then the supervisor did not match the energy of what they had. He just basically said what he said. Right? That was all they needed to do. Sir, no, we got to arrest you now. You're not going to, how can you arrest him when you just realized that he is protected by the First Amendment, freedom of speech? So he still has a case against the library, the police officers, because unfortunately you created a policy that is illegal. You cannot do that. And so everybody, hey, go read the whole thing. It's pages to the First Amendment. We're not going to read that today, but that is why, hey, civilian journalism, at first I was like, nah, because, our experience with streaming and everything, but we can't get rid of civilian journalism. If we did, we will be back to square one. Now, let me ask you this about body cameras. Why do they get an option to turn their body camera on and off? Shouldn't it stay on? I think it should stay on. Why do you have an option to turn it off? Oh, we can't hear
We
you,
can't hear you,
Crystal.
Crystal.
I was muted, but I was gonna say to hide what really goes on behind the scenes. That's why.
There needs to be a push for the body cams to never go off. So you see, the guy forgot to turn, and he didn't see it all that.
I was going to say, this also reminds me of a case that was in Chicago. This happened, I want to say 2018, I believe, where there was a case of the wrong conviction of a house. And instead of thinking that the police had the right house, they actually had the wrong house. And they went into somebody's house, which was an old lady, and they stripped her of all her clothes.
What?
Yes. This happened a couple years ago, and she is currently still fighting a lawsuit in regards to that. But half of it isn't caught on camera because they were able to turn the body cams off. So that really is concerning in regards to turning those body cams on and off, because that is our against the police. Because we can say he say, she say all day. And 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to believe the police because it's the same people against one person as opposed to the other way around.
Right.
But in a court of law, it's, again, remember, it's all about what you can.
Right.
It's not about who's right or wrong. It's about what you can prove. Can you prove the probable cause? I watch too much Law and Order. So, but in real life, seriously, that's what it's about. Can you prove the probable cause? And our probable cause is those body cameras, is that video footage, is that audio recording that you say we can't have. We need to have it around us at all times, especially when you're dealing with the police, because they are considered a legal entity, period.
Right. I agree. This was great conversation.
Notified by a good friend of mine who had she recently had a transition at her job, and she was notified that she is going to have to change her hair color based upon going back into the office. So so she's actually been working from home for about a year and a half, obviously, like we've all have. She has had black hair, but sometimes she has multicolor hair, like mine is like blonde right now, bleach blonde. But her hair, she decided to do just something a little funky. She decided to go with the blue tint. She works in a professional setting as a consultant, and she recently got a memo stating that she is going to have, because she did a Zoom call, she recently got a memo from her boss saying that she is going to have to change her hair. So my question is it logical for someone to change their hair based upon a email that was submitted from their boss? She is currently in HR right now, kind of fighting this whole thing, because it doesn't say anything in the handbook in regards to that. But I specifically had told her that I do not believe that she should change her hair color, because she, first and foremost, she didn't find it in the actual handbook. Second of all, it was fine the way that she is, and her boss doesn't see her on a day-to-day basis. So, Crystal, do you have any input on this, or? Back to you, Crystal.
I have no comment. Honestly. That is crazy. And I'm not wasting my energy on that.
Oh, goodness. It just really saddens me, I guess you could say, the level that certain companies will go to in order to deteriorate I feel like deteriorate Black women specifically. I feel like our hair is constantly a subject of division. It's constantly a subject and a topic of discussion. There's actually laws that have to be made in regards to our hair. And it just really makes me sad because I'm like, you have been in this position for over 3 years at this point. You're a trusted advisor. You're someone who does their job, not making any trouble. But because you received a memo from your manager on a Zoom call in regards to your hair, that has to be um, a topic for even discussing. That has to be a topic for even justification. Now, her basis and the grounds on this is because she actually has another coworker who is white. She's a senior consultant at her job. And she says, well, Katie actually has pink tips on her hair sometimes because she does. But they were concerned because Katie's hair is washes out. It's a washout pink tip type thing. And I've seen the girl's hair. She does have pink tips and it does wash out. So my friend having blue hair in a Zoom meeting, it really did bother her boss to the point of sending that email. So that's why I just could not understand why the tables had turned so drastically, especially when she never sees her boss on those days that she comes into work. She doesn't consult with clients on the days that she's actually in the office. And why does that have to be a issue when it comes to specifically our hair, specifically Black or African Americans? So Nichole just came back. Let me just tell her specifically what happened. I had a friend. She works at a technology consulting firm. She had been having a rough time these past couple months with the pandemic. She has been in the office. She had just started going back in the office. She was on a Zoom call and she decided to dye her hair a dark tinted blue. When she was on the Zoom call, after the Zoom call was over, she got a email from her boss stating that she needs to change her hair color immediately. And from there, she believed that she was unjustly told to change her hair color because they have another person on their team that has hair that has been dyed a different color. So she thought it was okay for her hair to be dyed. It was unnoticeably blue. Like you cannot see this blue unless you put it like towards the light. But they felt that that could be distracting to the workspace. Um, and she has since taken her complaint to HR and it is now an open investigation. I have personally advised her that she needs to go back to her handbook and to explain why isn't it fair across the board that she cannot have blue hair when she is in the office for 2 days out of the week and 3 days she is not. And she needs to make that documented case. So, yes.
That whole hair thing, I still don't. I think that standard is an outdated policy because every people have tattoos all over their face. Like, will her hair affect her ability to work? So I think if we start, asking questions such as that, because it's ridiculous. It basically is. It's discrimination. You found another way to target.
Absolutely.
And it's sad.
Absolutely. And this is a person who has proven themselves to be, she's been at this company for 3 years. She's proven herself to be an asset to this team. She has become one of the most sought after team members to get things completed and done. And she felt like just in a time where she barely sees her boss, barely. The one time that she saw her boss was literally on this Zoom call, and this was the first time she's seen her boss in almost, I want to say, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So the fact that he had said anything in regards to her on that Zoom call, but didn't say anything to the employee that had the pink tips, it was discouraging. It was very discouraging, I know, for her, and it was discouraging for me.
I have a question. How does she know she didn't say anything?
Well, she honestly doesn't know she didn't say anything in private, but she does know that the boss did keep bringing up her hair throughout the duration of the meeting. And it was just like
embarrassing.
It just made her very confused because the topic of discussion was not her hair. Right. It was about analytics, and you're still coming back to her hair. Mm-hmm. So that's what kind of triggered the actual.
Ultimately, how does, the hair, if it's not affecting her job, I think that's just a standard placed on women by some man, years ago, like church roles, and they need to stop. Because my hair does not affect my ability to do my job. So that's something. It's very outdated. It's very dated. And if you can wear your hair, you wear your hair like you want to. I'm gonna wear mine. The worst thing in the world is policing black hair, and I get so upset about that. I cut off a lot of people when I went natural because it was a lot of people that had input and had something to say about my head. Right? You're not my friend. I don't need you in my circle. And the whole thing with the job, I know she probably she can't start her own business. Cause listen.
Well, she really likes her career as a IT consultant. So, I did ask her about that. And she said that she really does like the company. She really does love, everything about her job. It's just this part, like, it was embarrassing. It was very embarrassing. And it was very unexpected because she didn't think that something like that would be even remotely a distraction. So, especially when she doesn't see her boss at all. So I told her to keep me updated because I wanted to still pray for her and make sure, at least mentally she was feeling okay. But she said she would definitely do that. And she has a pending inquiry with HR. That's what she started. So.
Yeah, keep her prayed up because I don't think she's gonna stay. Honestly,
I don't think so either. And I told her she also needs to start looking for other avenues of employment. Because
do you want to work for somebody like that? Mm-mm.
No, I know I wouldn't.
Mm-mm.
I know I wouldn't.
To HR. Mm-mm. Oh, we can't hear you, Crystal.
And I know the money is good, but my goodness. I said, you can make your money in that field anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know people say, well, you say that it's easier said than done. No, girl, you got to step out on faith and believe it, honey. You just need to believe it. That's it. Um, because before I quit my job, I had been saying like 6 months I wanted to quit because what the way we budgeted was unethical. And I don't care. It was unethical. So at the end, I have said, when I go back to school, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna start this agency, I'm gonna quit. And when I tell you God put everything in place and I wanted to quit, I kept saying I wanted to quit. And Crystal kept saying, like every day, I think Crystal talked me out of quitting. And so what happened is she made one more comment that I couldn't take. Now, I had a migraine and couldn't log in. We have a meeting and she says something like, I don't care if you're on your deathbed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was just one of the comments.
On your deathbed?
So,
what?
that's what she said. And I let her know too. When I have a migraine, I can't function. I take medication that puts me to sleep. Girl, mm-mm. So, and the day I did quit, I gave them a notice and I didn't even know she knew, right? Because I worked for a tech system. So I could easily end an assignment and go somewhere else. I didn't have to stay there. And so I told Brandon, and he, yeah, his name was Brandon. And then he said, I saw a message, Miss Nichole, call me. So I told him I was in a meeting. In the meeting, now she ain't said nothing to me. She make an announcement to the team that today was my last day. Girl, she said, can we, I saw Brandon. She just said, he said, oh, I was trying to get you because she was asking. I said, listen, the vacation time I have, let it be today until we ride out. I started logging out. I said, I have computers and stuff. I said, I will return it. How do I return it? And then they called, Crystal, did they not call me back and say, well, can she meet? She's working on projects that only she has. But you weren't acting like that when you was talking big and bad. I told when he called me back and said they want to know if you can. I said the only person that I will meet, she wants to meet with you. I said the only person I will meet with is the guy Mark. I told him, and oh, she wants to know if you'll have lunch with her tomorrow. Absolutely not. For what? I told him she would never make another passive aggressive comment to me again. And you calling me back talking about, but it's this and that. I said I knew that. That's why I was going to give her to the end of the week. But she said today is my last day. Girl, I know, because they were still in the meeting when I logged out. I logged right out as soon as she said that. She ain't seen or heard. And then I saw her pop up on my Facebook. You know how they suggest somebody, girl, I blocked her. You over here looking at, because how all of a sudden now you popping up as a sudden, no, block. Chris, yeah, she made it was two. So listen, I will pray for your friend, but I pray that she gets the strength and the faith to do the next step wherever God is telling her to move. Because God is not in confusion. That's not of God. And I would have been quit if Crystal hadn't made me stay. And then I couldn't take it no more. Got Crystal looking. I should have been quit her. She said, I don't care if you on your deathbed.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yep. So sometimes you just got to recognize that it's something else for you. It's something else. And that was, another great decision to walk away. Walk away. Child, I don't know. These people, they have too much input. They just doing the most. They doing too much. It's unfortunate because you basically limiting yourself from finding qualified, excellent talent because you have a bias against a certain person. Mm-mm. Yeah, she had a foul mouth. She constantly made retarded when the Floyd incident happened. She made
And this is your supervisor or manager?
This was the manager, yeah. Yeah. And I told Brent, said, well, what
must have been a trumpet.
So I just told and I told him, I said, if you remember the last time I talked to you, I said, and I have not called you anymore. I told you that I was going to pray about it. And if God saw fit, I was going to leave. And that's what happened. No, she made too many passive aggressive comments. She's serious. But if I check her, I would be the angry Black female. Okay. So how about you stay there and I'm going to go forward? So instead of me working for you and you sucking up all my time, my talent, and right, guess what? I'm going forward, honey. Ain't look back. Mm-mm. So you gotta put all that into perspective. And you realize that it is so hard to change a grown person's mind. Right. So if she think the hair shouldn't be blue, it's, I don't know. I don't know. Yes, God could change her heart. Honey, I don't know though. I think that's the beginning of the end. And that's the beginning of the end.
I agree because also she has been a very good loyal employee to this place for almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's why she's like, I'm not understanding why. What did I do to deserve this? All this other stuff. And I said, well, maybe it's not you that did anything. Maybe it's just the fact that they just don't like it. You can't control it.
We can't make people like us, and people stop liking you for all kinds of reasons. Whatever, just they have hell in them. I think somebody used to say that. Just filled with hell. I think mine too. Child, and they just don't like you. And you know what I have learned? And I'm gonna tell you. And this is, you tell your friend this, because this is what my grandmother told me when I was like 19, I think, and I moved to Ohio. And I was talking to her and I was like, but I don't understand. She treats me like this and she don't. Da, 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 da. She said, honey, they talked about Jesus. That is not your mama. That's what she said. That is not your mama. She's always going to treat her child better than she treats you. And you know what? That lady is for herself. She's of the world. Unfortunately, people gonna do what they do, but it's been like that particular time. I would never forget that. And guess what I did? Stop whining and crying about it and said, I am on my own. And then another time, I called my mama crying about my ex-mother-in-law, who I had bought a birthday present, and she dogged me when I asked her if she liked it. I called my mama so upset. You know what my mama said? You got a mama. I said, that's right. I got a mama. Child, I ain't allow her to talk to me like that no more. Because you have to determine your worth. That's it. I was a loyal employee over there doing everything. All they was doing was stealing my ideas and giving the credit to the white man. So if he was so good and you got all of them, why you got to talk to me? They should be able to figure it out. No, you should have thought about that. How dare you announce my triumph in a meeting to either deflect or devalue my decision? No, ma'am. Nope. So I showed her. I logged right out. Put that computer up. She can come over. Can she come over and drop the computer off and we can have lunch? Girl, it's COVID out here. Why? No, ma'am. I'm not meeting with you. I'm not talking. You would never hear my voice again. You would never see me. Because I promise you, if you did see me in the street, honey, I ain't going to see you. And I'm going to keep on walking. Okay? No, ma'am. We have to know our value. And that's exactly what happens. They get, oh, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? Steal your ideas and never give you credit. Mm-mm. And, honestly, she, technology consultant, she could actually start her own business doing that. So
Definitely have put the bug in her ear. So
I just, and that goes for myself. But when people show me who they are, what happens is I believe them. I give everybody a fair chance, I think, unless the Holy Spirit says don't mess with them. Then I don't even bother with it. But child, no. That's why I got to make it. Because I'm not going back to corporate America. I have to make it. So if that means that I need to, start doing some consulting, or I need to go live on Live It and Be Live 8 hours a day and do my consulting, I'm going to get it, honey. Because honestly, I don't have that many bills where I need to return to corporate America. Not in my mind, I don't.